Hello, YouTube. This is a chapter from my book, Yoga of Psychosis, The Shadow. Unfortunately, this is where everything in my story goes tits up. Instead of integrating the shadow, I repress the dark side. The shadow has both personal and collective qualities to it. On a personal level, socialization often pushes the shadow element out of a person's conscious identity, resulting in disowned energies and unrealized truths about one's nature. On a collective level, the shadow plays out in the sphere of culture and politics, creating polarization and division due to the individual's tendency to ignore the shadow within herself, and yet without hesitation project this shadow onto others while simultaneously condemning the other as evil. As mentioned, the shadow houses all of the darker elements of an individual's personality. Those asocial tendencies more or less present. Oh crap, I lost the whole page. Oh man, I lost it. One second. Asocial tendencies in all humans. Yet paradoxically, the process of getting to know these less than desirable parts of oneself heralds a great transformation. Knowledge of the personal shadow profoundly influences the way you perceive reality. Indeed, it forces the individual into moral development because the confrontations with one's own evil, the loss of any illusion about what you truly are, breaks down belief in simplistic moral and social doctrines and forces the individual to adopt a more contextual and flexible moral framework, one that balances the yin and the yang. In a deep sense, the individuation process is about reconciling the essential contradiction within us, the existence of good and evil. And yet, this is not what happened in my case. I did not own up to my dark side, instead I ignored it. I repressed it, and the consequences were nothing short of total madness, ego inflation, and psychotic delusion. And I'll end with this quote. When one tries desperately to be good and wonderful and perfect, then all the more the shadow develops a definite will to be black and evil and destructive. The fact is, if that one tries beyond one's capacity to be perfect, the shadow descends into hell and becomes the devil. Ain't that the truth? So that really does apply to Swami Satchidananda and what happened to him. He repressed his shadow, and eventually it just became this black mass of darkness that he did everything to hide and to portray himself as a perfect image. But that doesn't mean he didn't have good in him. The dark side kind of came out every now and then, and it tied to his sexual desires. One of the most evil and heinous things you could do on this planet, and which many people have done, is you take the truth of spirituality, you take the love of God, the truth of God, and then you try to portray yourself as that truth, when in reality you are not on that level, right? This is me too, right? This is me too. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm super blissed out. But that doesn't mean that I don't have darkness in me. I have darkness in me. I'm still working to integrate that and reach the highest levels, right? So the deepest truth for me is that I'm not enlightened. Or I don't even like to use that word not, or so I am or I am not enlightened. But the deepest truth in me is that I still have darkness in me. And I don't know if anyone doesn't have complete darkness in them. One of the most heinous things you can do is take the love of God and corrupt it with lies. One of the most heinous things you could do is take the love of a mother and father and bring that down into selfish sexuality. You're corrupting one of the most holy relationships of all existence. So that's what I wanted to say.